Okay, hopefully should be live now. Let me know if you guys can hear me or not. I'm gonna tweet out these links here real quickly. But in the meantime, if you guys can hear me and everything's good, let me know. I see you guys popping up in the chat. Thank you. I will be answering questions, man. The quarantine got me looking rough, man. The beard is crazy right now. What's good? What's good? JB Sports, what's up, man? Maurice, John, what's good? What's good? Thank you guys for tuning in, man. We got a lot to get to. I have a lot to get to. I'm just going to go ahead and tweet out the link, and then we can go ahead and get started. So I'm live right now on YouTube talking about the dance. So let us tweet that out, and then we can go ahead and get started, man. But thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully the quality is good as well. So please, if you guys are having any trouble, let me know. Okay, perfect. All right, so hopefully folks going to trickle in here, but here's what we're talking about. The Last Dance coming out tomorrow. I can't wait. Obviously, the documentary that everybody's looking forward to while we have no sports. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk a little bit obviously about the current Bulls right now, their situation. I've obviously posted a lot of videos about it. I'll do some Q&A with that. We also had some Bears news, obviously, with the release of Trey Burton. Obviously, I've dropped those videos, but we can talk about that too. And then also, I'm going to talk about this article that came out from ESPN, Ramona Shelburne, who basically wrote about when Michael Jordan gave the approval for the Last Dance footage to be released. And it just so happened that it coincided with the Cavaliers 2016 parade. So going to talk about that as well. So a lot to get to here. So I just want the folks to go ahead and trickle in here before we do get started. I see a lot of you guys in the chat. We'll also at the end, obviously, I'll do a Q&A, and I'll answer questions in the meantime too, so you guys can drop them in the comments below or in the question below. I see a lot of you guys go ahead and tuning in here, man. And the NFL draft next week. Can't wait for that. So excited about the NFL draft. So yes, even though there are no live sports, this is probably the best week of sports we've had to look forward to since this whole quarantine thing started. I mean, you got the Last Dance dropping tomorrow. You've got the NFL draft next week. I mean, that's in and of itself. So it's going to be fantastic. JB Sports is asking Bulls question only. No, I mean, you guys can ask me any questions. I'll answer it. But right now, I do want to talk about specifically the Bulls, the Last Dance documentary, and mainly focus on that. But if you guys have other questions, absolutely, we can talk about it. I'll do a Q&A as well. So I just want to make that clear. But yeah, this is the best week of sports we've had in quite some time. And so I'm really excited about that. That's why I wanted to do a live stream, because what's going to happen now is after tomorrow, once we get the first 2 episodes of The Last Dance, and remember, it's 2 episodes a day. They're dropping 2 episodes, not a day, every week. So 2 episodes tomorrow, and then they're going to do 2 episodes every Sunday thereafter. And I think the last one's like, May 17th or something like that. So there's 10 episodes. So they're going to drop 2 episodes every single week. So yeah, want to focus on that. So let's get started here. We'll talk about The Last Dance and why, obviously, I'm looking forward to this so much. So the main thing here, obviously, if you guys don't know, The Last Dance is focusing mainly on the Bulls' last season, the 1997-98 NBA season in which they won the NBA championship, the 6th title. But also, The Last Dance documentary isn't just talking about that season. It's going to do and talk about the Bulls' previous titles as well, and a lot of different storylines. We're going to get the side of Phil Jackson. We're going to get Scottie Pippen. obviously Michael Jordan, and then a slew of other people. So it's not going to be just about the Bulls' last championship. It's going to be talking about the entire dynasty. And besides the obvious reasons of why I'm excited, everybody knows the obvious reasons. Okay, like it's MJ, the GOAT. It's the Bulls dynasty. I believe the greatest dynasty, obviously of all time. People might argue the Celtics and Lakers, but obviously we know that they won a lot of their championships when there were 8 teams in the league, and a lot of those players were not nearly as good as the players in today's NBA. So, besides the obvious reasons, here's why I'm excited. I'm sure a lot of you guys, because I don't know how old you guys are. Myself, I'm 27. We didn't really get to watch Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls win championships at an age where we could really digest it. And so this documentary is going to allow us to be able to really look at the Bulls dynasty and basically pretend like we're watching it while it actually unfolded in 1997, in 1998. So to me, again, you can watch YouTube videos. All the footage is out there. I've watched a lot of the finals, back from the 90s. I've watched the 92 finals when Jordan hit 6 threes against the Blazers. I've watched the 91 finals when the Bulls won their first chip against the Lakers. I've watched all of them, the full game. But again, it's something different, when we're talking about being able to really just sit in person or, at the time that stuff was actually happening. And then number two, the fact that the documentary is unreleased footage, stuff that no one's ever seen before. I mean, that to me is going to be insane and off the charts. Speaking of which, ESPN's Ramona Shelburne posted an article today. You guys can go check it out. I'll be honest, I didn't read the full thing yet, but she tweeted the link to the article in a funny way that Michael Jordan had not signed off on the Last Dance documentary because they've had this footage since 1998, obviously. It's just been sitting in a cellar, I believe, in Secaucus, New Jersey for years now. He didn't sign off until 2016. Who won the championship in 2016? It was the Cleveland Cavaliers, who beat the 73-9 Golden State Warriors to win the NBA championship, and they came back from down 3-1 in that series. And it's so funny to me that MJ released it at that time because of the fact that LeBron James obviously is the guy a lot of people believe, the only one, and I believe it as well. He's the only guy you can absolutely put in the same level as Michael Jordan. He's the second greatest player of all time. LeBron James. I've held firm to this belief. MJ is the greatest, and LeBron is number 2. Nobody else is in their stratosphere. And so to me, just classic MJ, the competitive side, he wanted to remind everybody, all these new kids, all these, fans that never got to see MJ play, you must have forgot who the heck I am. So he really wanted to, I guess, make that known, and now we're going to get to see it. And a lot of these people that never watched Michael Jordan live, they're going to get to see just why MJ is considered the GOAT. So to me, that's going to be fantastic. So really looking forward to that. And then the channel update here for you guys is after every episode, or every 2 episodes, because they're dropping 2 hours, I'm going to be dropping my reaction to those videos. I'm going to be dropping my reactions, so every Sunday you'll see videos from me, or the next day, whatever. So look forward to that. I hope you guys all watch the Last Dance documentary as well. It's going to be fantastic because I cannot look forward to it more so. You got to realize, man, the 90s Bulls, we're talking about arguably the greatest team of all time. Obviously, you got the GOAT, Michael Jordan, but Scottie Pippen, man, people underrate Scottie Pippen so much, and it makes me so mad. This man is a top 50 player, one of the best two-way players in league history. He essentially invented the point forward position, I believe, and he doesn't get the respect that I believe he deserves. Obviously, other guys, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper, I mean, those teams were loaded, man. MJ, it was MJ, but those teams were flat out loaded. So I can't wait to talk about all of that. So with that being said, we've talked about now the Last Dance. I'll continue to talk about that as well. Let's talk about the current state of the Bulls. I see a lot of you guys have questions about the Bulls. So let's go ahead and answer these. Now, We've got the executive now, obviously Arturas Karnisovas. I've made a video, plenty of them, about him. We need a GM. We need a coach. I made a video about the GMs. The Bulls have interviewed Michael Finley now. That is confirmed. I tweeted about it. You guys can go follow me on there. So as far as who they're going to hire, a lot of you guys have asked me. Obviously, I've given my thoughts on it. But Michael Finley is a top 3 option for me, along with Mark Eversley of the Philadelphia 76ers. And then I like Adrian Griffin as well, Toronto Raptors assistant GM. So there's a slew of guys I like. But Michael Finley, certainly a Chicago native. He's been in the Mavs front office for like 7 years. I think he'd be great. So I would have no issues with hiring him. And then there's obviously a lot of talk now about the head coach. Posted a video about that too. I see a lot of you guys commenting about Jim Boylan and the Bulls head coach. I think he's getting fired. It's just a matter of when, not if. And as far as who my choice would be, obviously my number one choice is Kenny Atkinson. Kenny Atkinson, the former coach of the Nets, would be a home run hit to me because he is the perfect rebuilding coach. Even if you don't believe the Bulls are fully rebuilding, they're definitely retooling. And so he'd be a fantastic coach for that. But I like Dave Yeager. I like him as well. I'm not as high on Mark Jackson. A lot of you guys love Mark Jackson. I'm not as high on him. I just don't think he's as great with the X's and O's as the other guys are. And so to me, those would be my choices. So again, when do I expect this to happen? Folks, don't hold your breath on it. Here's the thing. With the GM, I expect that to happen fairly quickly. But the coach, the season, we don't even know if it's coming back, the NBA season, okay? And if and when it does come back, I wouldn't blame Arturos if he keeps Jim Boylan to finish out the rest of this season and then next season technically hire somebody. Okay, so I don't blame him if he doesn't fire Jim Boylan right now. I know everybody wants him out of town right now. I want to kick Jim Boylan, give him the boot, get him out. But here's the thing. There's no rush for that right now with the current state of affairs. Once the NBA season's back up, then we can even let the season play out. And then once next season comes around, we can fire Jim Boylan. Because here's the thing. The Bulls roster as of right now, it's not changing. Arturos does not have much flexibility until the summer of 2021 to do anything with this Bulls roster. We have a lot of our guys locked in. So I just want people to be aware of that. So hopefully you guys understand that. It's going to happen, but just don't, be in a rush because I don't believe it's going to happen, anytime soon. GM could, but coach, I don't think so. So with that being said, I've talked for now, about 13 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take some questions, and then we'll get back to some of the topics that I want to talk about. So let me scroll here at the top and just make sure that I'm addressing all the questions. So Kevin Correa says Jim Boylan sucks. Look, I know you guys obviously, everybody knows Jim Boylan sucks. It's not big news. Come on now. He's going to be fired. Don't worry. We need Mark Jackson as head coach. I told you I'm not as high on Mark Jackson. I don't hate him, but just not as high. Tavion gambling. So do you think the Bears get Leonard? Ian said we've been interested. Which Leonard are you talking about? Leonard Floyd, who we let go? I'm not sure. LJ asked, do you think the Bulls should trade Lauri Markkanen? I don't. I do believe Lauri Markkanen has the higher ceiling between him and Wendell Carter Jr. A lot of Bulls fans are kind of, debating between these two. I would still pick Lauri if I had to trade either one. I've told you guys, I don't believe they fit. So far throughout their careers, it's been a weird fit for both of them on the court. They're both 4s and not 5s. And so one of them has to play 5 when they're both out there. And Wendell Carter Jr. has been a little bit more injury prone to me than Lauri has. So I would probably keep Lauri and trade Wendell. Do you think the Bears are still going to draft a tight end, especially after the Trey Burton released? That's what Maurice Drake asked. Great question. As far as what the Bears are going to do now with tight end, there's two avenues really. Yes, they could certainly draft a tight end in the draft. They have 2 picks in the second round. Now, if they draft a tight end with one of those 2 picks in the second round early on, it won't surprise me at all. Before the Trey Burton being released, news came out, I thought there was no chance the Bears were going to take a tight end early on in the draft. Maybe later, but not early on. Now, with Trey Burton released, certainly think that could happen. As far as who that could be, Cole Kmet out of Notre Dame, that's a guy that's projected to go high. There's a number of guys out there, but to his question, I would not be surprised if they do draft the tight end. And the second avenue is they could potentially trade for one. OJ Howard made a video about it the other day. They could potentially trade for him. Another guy nobody's talking about, David Njoku in Cleveland. They got Austin Hooper, by the way, the guy that I wanted the Bears to get. They had Austin Hooper. So they're going to have two tight ends that are capable of starting. Maybe make a play for David Njoku. But either way, whatever happens, Jimmy Graham is getting the majority of the snaps at the tight end position. Let's just be honest about it. We know that, okay? Do you think the Bears hold on, let me see. You should coach the Bulls better than what they have right now. Thank you, Sean. I really appreciate that. But again, Jim Boylan isn't really, I would say, much respected around the league. Faiz, what's up, buddy? What's good? What's going on, Dominic? I heard their Jags are moving on with Leonard Fournette. Yeah, I just saw that news on Twitter about the Jags trying to trade Leonard Fournette. Look, as far as, whether or not the Bears should look into those talks, we've got David Montgomery. I don't believe I think David Montgomery is, more than capable, and so to me, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with keeping David Montgomery. I wouldn't make a play for Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette's good. He's better than David Montgomery, but you got to factor in all of the different things. Like, you have to pay him a big contract. You have to do this and that. That's probably why the Jaguars are looking to trade him. They're probably having, a fire sale, if you will. So, yeah, let me know if you guys have other questions. Dominic asks, Faiz, can we talk about the combination of Mack, Robert Quinn, and Hicks? I mean, this is probably going to be the best pass rush in the NFL. I mean, the Bears defense is going to be stupidly incredible. Like, it's going to be ridiculous how good their defense is. So absolutely going to be fantastic, man. And that's what I expect to happen. But with that being said, I do have a question for you guys. And this came about from Chuck Swirsky. If we could switch gears real quick and go back to the Bulls, who is a play-by-play announcer. I believe he's the radio guy, on-screen guy. But longtime announcer for the Bulls, Chuck Swirsky, said that who would be on your list of the Bulls' all-time starting five? So a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. To me, it's Derrick Rose, MJ, obviously, Scottie Pippen. Then I would probably put at the 4 Dennis Rodman, and then Joakim Noah at the 5. I mean, that's probably my team. Now, what's interesting is I kind of want to put Jimmy Butler in there, but you would probably have to move Scottie to the 4, and put Jimmy at the 3, and either Noah or Rodman at the 5. But then you get like a really small lineup. But we know for sure, if we're talking about the all-time starting 5 for the Bulls, D-Rose, MJ, Scottie are locks. And then whatever you want to do with Dennis and Joakim and Jimmy Butler, you can. I mean, on the bench, I'd probably have Tony Kukoc. I would probably have Luol Deng. Probably would have – would you give Captain Kirk a spot on the all-time Bulls roster? That's interesting. But, yeah, that's probably my starting 5 right there. And I'd rival that starting 5 with just about any other all-time team starting 5 in the league. The only other 2 teams that obviously would have a better team would be the Lakers with, like, what would the Lakers have? Like Magic, Kobe, LeBron. Would they have LeBron? If they do have LeBron, it's unfair. They'd have Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Kareem. I mean, that'd be ridiculous. Horace Grant. Yeah, that's a good one, too. Horace Grant would be on the roster. I put him on the bench. So I'd have Horace Grant on the bench. I would have Luol Deng on the bench. I would have Jimmy Butler on the bench, depending on if he starts or not. But that would be my starting 5 for the all-time Chicago Bulls. Man, that would be a sight to see. Could you imagine prime MVP Derrick Rose alongside MJ and Scottie? I mean, ridiculous. The Bulls should have never traded Jimmy. They should have built around him. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to see who won that trade at this point. If you look back when the Bulls traded Jimmy to the Timberwolves, I mean, the Timberwolves ended up trading Jimmy Butler, and so now you think, you know, the Bulls won the trade, right? But we're still rebuilding, so it's like it's hard to tell who won that trade, to be honest with you. But yeah, I would have loved to keep Jimmy Butler. Um, I didn't want to let him go. I love Jimmy, man, but sometimes you got to start over. So what can you say? But I do miss Jimmy, and yes, he would be on the all-time Bulls starting five team. So with that being said, should Matt Nagy utilize Cordell Patterson as a receiver? With that being said, should Matt Nagy utilize Cordell Patterson as a receiver more? Um, no, I don't believe so. I think the Bears are going to draft a receiver. Um, I believe they are going to look for a receiver in the draft this year, probably at later rounds. But this draft, this draft is deep at receiver more than anything. I mean, it is stupid deep at receiver. So I think the Bears will draft someone, and we have receivers behind Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller. You got, the second-year player now, Riley Ridley. You've got Juwan Williams. So I don't think they need to utilize Cordell Patterson. He can stay at his position. Kevin McDermott, yeah, no. Dougie McBuckets, no, that's a hard pass. He's not making the team. So, with that being said, real quickly back to the documentary itself. There was also talk about how MJ is afraid of how he's going to come across on this documentary. People are not going to like him, and people are going to think he's a bad guy. Look, if you have studied about MJ at all, especially like I have, and know about his entire career, you should already know by now that MJ was a ruthless, psychotic, obsessive player that would, obviously be hard on his teammates, but it was all because he wanted to win so bad. So if you didn't know that, then you clearly didn't know MJ. So I don't think I would change my opinion on it. I hope other people really wouldn't, but it's interesting to see. What am I looking most forward to in this documentary? Besides the obvious stuff, I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is really finding out the reason why the Chicago Bulls broke up. Everybody wants to say it's Jerry Krause, right? Right off the bat, people think it's just Jerry Krause. His ego was the reason. He wanted the credit, so he broke up the Bulls. He infamously told Phil Jackson, I don't care if you go 82-0, you're, you know what, is gone after the season. But I think there's more to the story than just Jerry Krause. I think absolutely there are more factors at play there. Clearly, you had Michael Jordan who said, if Phil Jackson's leaving, I'm out. Okay. And you have Phil Jackson, obviously, with his relationship with Jerry Krause. Everybody wants to just say Jerry Krause had an ego. Phil had an ego too. And we never blame it. Now, again, like I said, with Jerry Krause, people don't understand this. Jerry Krause was brought in with the Bulls in 1985. That was 1 year after Michael Jordan got drafted. So you're given the greatest player of all time in Michael Jordan, but you also have to remember there have been multiple great players in this league that have not won squat. They've won jack, zero, nothing, nil, nada. I can name them obviously off the top of my head. When you get a great player or even the greatest player of all time, you have to be able to do what? Surround him with talent. Jerry Krause, for all his failures in regards to controlling his temper, his ego, all of those things, he was able to build a squad around Michael Jordan. He drafted Scottie Pippen. He was the one who made the trade for Charles Oakley, or I think he traded Charles Oakley for Horace Grant. He was the one who got Dennis Rodman to Chicago for the second set of three-peat. Ron Harper, Tony Kukoc, buy him out from Europe. He put a squad around Michael Jordan. That is the reason, or a large part of it, of how the Bulls were able to repeat. So to me, I don't think it's just Jerry Krause why the Bulls broke up. Now, if you ask me, how many more rings would they have won? I think the Bulls would have probably won one to potentially two more. They probably would have beat the Spurs in '99. But then you're talking about Kobe and the Lakers and Shaq. I don't know about that. And if Jordan ever retired in, 94 and 95, I think they lose one of those to Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon is, to me, one of the most underrated players. He's on my all-time team. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you guys my all-time team. All-time NBA starting five. Are you ready? This is my personal one. I'm going to start with MJ at the 2, LeBron at the 3. Okay, those are obvious plays for me. At the 4, you know what? I'll go back to the 1. At the 1, it's easy for me to say I want Magic Johnson, but I think I take Steph Curry just because of the shooting. If I don't know what era I'm in, I need the shooting, so I'll take Steph Curry. At the 4, I want KG, Kevin Garnett, my favorite player of all time. The versatility at the 4, he can hit the mid-range, incredible defensive player. And then at the 5, Hakeem Olajuwon. Yes, that's right. That's my all-time starting 5 right there. I want Hakeem at the 5. Best post moves in NBA history. He torched Shaquille O'Neal, who a lot of people consider the greatest center of all time. Go and look up those videos on YouTube of Shaq talking about Hakeem. He said, I couldn't break him. I couldn't do anything. Hakeem used to give Shaq the work every single time. So Hakeem Olajuwon, to me, one of the greatest, personally to me, the greatest center of all time. And so to me, back to the point, in 93, 94, I think they would, or 94, 95, I think they would have lost one of those to the Rockets. So potentially the Bulls would have been 7-2 or 8-1 in 9 finals. Now I ask you this: would you rather the Bulls be 6-0 like they are now, or would you rather the Bulls lose 1 or 2 rings and be 7-2? What would you rather have? Let me know in the comments below. Because to me, it's a very good question, right? 6-0, you're perfect, or 1 more ring and you're 7-2, but you have 2 finals losses. 6-0, yeah. A lot of people pick 6-0, man. Dominic is saying 6-0. You guys don't want more championships? It's funny to me. I get it. You're taking losses with it, but is it 0 or 7-2? If the Bulls get 1 more championship and 2 more finals losses in 94, 5, and 99. Let me know in the comments right now. What would you guys take? I think I'd take 7-2. I want 1 more ring. But wow, everybody's saying 6-0. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. But much respect, man. That's why he's the GOAT, right? Perfect 6-0. But yeah, I think that's another thing I really am looking forward to is how the heck or why the heck the Bulls broke up. Was it just Jerry Krause, or was it other factors that led to it? So to me, really looking forward to that, man. And just really looking forward to absorb all this. I've been binge watching so much Bulls content lately, man. I really wish I was around an age where I could enjoy it in the 90s, like, a lot of people got to. But I can't wait. So with that being said, folks, again, I'm going to leave it open for a couple more questions here. Shoot me whatever questions you guys have now, and I'll talk about it. So let us look at the comment section here. What do you think about KJ Hamler? I like KJ Hamler. I believe he's out of Penn State. Is that correct? Yeah, I think so. Burner, he's fast. We need a speedy receiver. I'd love to draft KJ Hamler. James is asking, Faiz, would you rather go 82-0 in a season but only do it for 1 season, or make the playoffs for 3 seasons with a 500 record? That's a good point. I'd probably go 82-0 because you're etched in history at that point. 82-0. Jay Chi-Town, Tom Thibodeau coming back as coach. Why are you guys doing this to me, man? I like Tibbs, man. I like Tibbs. Why are you guys doing this to me? Look, Tibbs is good. Let him coach another team. We've been there, done that, man. Like, man. Look, I never liked it when the Bulls drove Tibbs out of town. We all know that was Pax and Gar that did it. But Tom Thibodeau, for all his, for all his good qualities, he's got plenty of flaws. Plays guys too much. He's hard on them. I like Tibbs, but I want some fresh blood in the building. Give me Kenny Atkinson. Give me Dave Yeager. Give me somebody else. I'm good with Tibbs. Yeah, I think he's going to go to the Knicks. I heard Leon Rose is looking to hire him. So I will pass on Tibbs, but I can understand the nostalgia for why people really want Tibbs. I don't want Tibbs injuring Kobe like it did Derek. Yeah. I mean, I don't blame Tibbs for the injury, folks, for Derrick Rose. That was just a freak accident. But he did used to, for sure, drive guys hard in the ground. We do know that. Should Bears trade Cohen for a 3rd or 4th? James Holman asked that. Here's the thing with Tariq Cohen. I don't mind if they trade him, But if you trade Tariq Cohen, now you have to draft a running back. And so to me, you all of a sudden get really thin at running back behind David Montgomery. It's David Montgomery, and then what? Then behind Tariq Cohen, excuse me, you have Brian Nall. So if they trade Tariq Cohen, they need to draft a running back at that point, or trade for one at least. But yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all. I would not mind trading Tariq Cohen. I think the Bears use him way too much. David Montgomery should be the workhorse back. Tariq Cohen's a space back, a scat back. Let him get in space and get open, but please stop feeding him as much as you do. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. But please make sure to check out the videos. Going to be posting the reactions to The Last Dance for the documentary. It's tomorrow at, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central. So make sure you guys don't miss out. Jay Shottown, what about the Bulls trading for Anthony Davis in the year? Look, I can't answer that until I know what happens with the Lakers this season. But if I had to guess, I believe he stays with the Lakers. I don't think he's going to come back to the Chicago Bulls. And as far as trading for him, you can't trade for AD because you'd have to give up the entire package of everything you have. The best situation is for him to sign with the Bulls as a free agent, and that would only happen if he doesn't sign his extension this coming summer, which I expect him to with the Lakers. Over under 8.5 wins for the Bears this season. I don't want to give it away right now. I'm leaning over, but I will have a video coming out for the Bears' full schedule. Once the Bears' full schedule is released, I will give you guys my win-loss prediction for every single game. So look forward to that. But I'm leaning towards the over, but I don't want to give it away right now. But thank you guys. Again, make sure you guys check out the rest of my videos if you haven't. I dropped another video today about Jameis and Cam and why they haven't been signed yet. And I'm dropping reaction videos after every single documentary, after every single episode of the documentary for The Last Dance. So appreciate you guys for checking out, and I'll talk to you guys later.